I was considering at first, I'm like, maybe I should put on makeup for this, and then I was like, should you though? Because that sounds like it would take a lot of time. So I didn't do that. Hi everyone, it's Emily, and it's been a little while since I have made a video. Life has been a little hectic for me, as I'm sure it has been for a lot of you. Just I've been busy with a fair amount of medical testing, which thankfully is over for the time being, and just everyday life stuff has been happening, been working, and yeah, but I really wanted to make a video. Today I am going to be talking about disability, chronic illness, and self-image, which is a pretty big topic, and I'll probably end up making more videos later as I, think of things, or as I think of other ideas related to this topic. So yeah, let's get started. Before I got sick, I was very type A personality. I planned everything out. I love, I still am that way. I love checking things off a list and being organized and getting things done ahead of time. I always sort of thrived on a schedule, and when you get a disability or chronic illness, it changes everything, and suddenly you can't always be on a schedule. You can't always do the things you want to do, and that really is frustrating sometimes. And for me, I know that I put a lot of my self-worth into my ability to be productive, and I tended to find being productive as sort of these able-bodied standards of I need to make a lot of money, or just any money. I need to be independent, I should have my own place, and be like, have a lot of friends, and or just a few close friends. But for me, a lot of it has to do with working, and as someone, again, with a disability, where I am right now, I am not at a place where I can work full time. I'm hoping, of course, in the future that will change. Maybe, my condition could improve, or there could be new treatments, and I, of course, would love to work full time. And just recently I was speaking to a recruiter about sort of my situation, and it was frustrating because I knew the positions that she was talking about were ones that I could have at least been a candidate for if I were able-bodied. Not that they require a lot of, running around, lifting heavy things, but they're 40-hour week jobs that want you to be in an office. And that's not doable for me right now, and that's hard because, like I said, I've always been someone who likes a schedule, who, I have very high standards for myself, and you might be like that too. You might have all these, huge dreams and aspirations and goals, and that doesn't mean you can't get there or reach those goals even if you have a disability, but there are some things that, at least for me, I know that I have to take a step back and sort of say, all right, am I doing everything I can to get to where I want to be? And in that case, for me, a big goal of mine is to live independently, and right now I do have a job that is part-time, and I am writing, which is exciting that I'm getting paid to write, and it is something that I enjoy, and it wouldn't be enough for me to live by myself just on the income I make with that, but I am working, and I am doing something that is taking me toward where I want to go. So that's one thing that helps me a lot. Another thing, I tried to remind myself, I just turned 23 last month, most people my age don't have it figured out. And I know a lot of people who are able-bodied who, still live at home and are working to find a good job. And once you graduate college, or, if you don't go to college, once you get out of high school, you rarely step into your dream job. It takes a lot of work to get where you want to go, regardless of whether or not you have a disability. And that's something I have to remind myself of, that comparing myself to others doesn't really change my situation, and a lot of other people are in my situation. And I have to, again, like I said, take a step back, because I don't want to be resentful of people who are doing really well, who are able-bodied. Good for you if you're able-bodied, congratulations. But I am not, so I have to kind of, take a step back, be like, alright, someone else's success does not take away from what I'm doing, and comparing myself isn't going to help. And that's something that's really hard and that I'm continuing to work on. And one thing that I was told that is really helpful when sort of comparing yourself to others, or when you're being very critical of yourself, is to think if what you're thinking, is it true and is it helpful? So, for example, if I'm like, everyone else has their life figured out and I don't, well, that's not true. It's not. No matter what age you are, there's always going to be stress in life, and I don't have things all figured out at this age, and a lot of people my age don't. And if you do, congratulations, awesome for you. I am not in that boat currently, but I am working on it. And when comparing myself to others and, being critical of myself, if I'm like, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, if I'm doing what I need to do to get to where I want to go, then being overly critical of myself isn't helpful. And if a thought isn't true and it isn't helpful, then you kind of have to reevaluate what you're thinking, and you kind of need to think, all right, what can I do in order to get to this point? And what can I think about myself in a more kind manner? Just be compassionate to yourself. And if you're doing what you want to do to get to wherever it is you want to go, then you need to remind yourself of that, and you need to remind yourself that you are taking steps you need to take, and it's okay to not have life figured out. And I know that's really hard. Like I said, it's very hard for me, and it's something that I'm working on still, but having a long-term goal is helpful. And one of my goals this year was to get a job. I do have a job, and that's something that I think I sort of tend to not overlook, because it's a job and I am very grateful for it, but at the same time I will look at other people who are working more hours than I am, and I'm like, oh, well, what I'm doing doesn't count. That's not true. And as I, continue to work, I find ways that I can be more productive, and it's a learning process. So I am trying to be more compassionate to myself and tell myself that I shouldn't minimize what I'm doing, because like I said, I am writing at, I'm getting paid for writing, which is really exciting because, that's what I'm passionate about. And I still can do other things that are productive, even if that doesn't necessarily mean making money. And I know for people who are disabled that a lot of the times productivity is equal to like your worth, and you can be productive in ways that don't involve making money. Like you're being productive literally just getting out of bed some mornings. That's all you can do some days, and that's fine. You're also being productive, when you do things you enjoy, even if, like I said, you're not getting paid for it, like writing, drawing, painting, exercising. Like, good for you if you're exercising. But there's plenty of ways to be productive, and also you add value to the world just by being you. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's true that you have intrinsic value as a human being, and you don't need to be, this amount of productive. I know that doesn't make sense, but you don't have to meet a certain level of productivity to be a valuable person and to have value. So I know that's really hard to tell yourself, and I tell myself that. And when I look at other people who are in similar situations, I'm like, of course they're they're doing the best they can, and I am very empathetic for them, and I totally understand their situation. I'm like, good for you. Like I respect that it is hard to take care of yourself and put yourself and your health first when you sometimes really don't want to do that, and it's hard to do that. So I totally respect people who put their health first and kind of take care of themselves, because that's not always easy, especially when you want to do something else but you need to take care of your body. So I would never judge someone the way I judge myself, and I would definitely recommend trying not to judge yourself as harshly. If you wouldn't judge someone else in your exact same situation as harshly as you are judging yourself, then you need to be kinder to yourself. So it's hard to view yourself as complete sometimes if you don't meet the standards of an able-bodied like capitalistic world. Who is this? Thanks for revving your truck. Welcome to my neighborhood. As I was saying, it's not always easy to hold yourself to able-bodied standards in a world that very much tells us that what we produce is how much we're worth. And like I said, you have worth as a human being. That's how it is. You can do things and you deserve to do things that make you happy. And there are lots of avenues for remote work, luckily today, especially with technology. And it does help to have a really good support system. There are, different businesses and organizations that do work to help people with disabilities find jobs. It depends on your local area, where you are, and I am in the U.S., so it might be a little different for people outside of the U.S., but it's probably easier for people outside of the U.S., let's be real. There are ways that you can find work, and often there are organizations that do help people with disabilities find work. I will say that my experience in most of those organizations tend to be aimed towards people with developmental disabilities, and if you're someone like me, I have skills that I already have skills that I can use in a work brain fog. I was an English major. I have skills that I can use in a job, but I need to find a job that is appropriate for me. But with technology, there are a lot of different avenues. You have a lot of different options as far as telecommuting, working remotely. It is tricky, I will admit, to find the right job for you and the right fit, but there are options out there. It's definitely worth taking a look at your options and seeing what you might be interested in, if working is something that is important to you, or if you need the money. Like, I know financially it can be hard as a person with a disability, and I'm very lucky to have a great support system and family that understands my disability, but I know that's not the case for everyone, unfortunately. So definitely look online, take advantage of any resources in your local area. Look up what resources there are around you. There might be resources that you're not aware of. And just, again, try to be kind to yourself. If you can't work for whatever reason, that's okay. And that doesn't mean you won't be able to work in the future, and you can still find ways to enjoy yourself, and you deserve to enjoy yourself and be happy even if you can't work. And I know to some people that's like a radical idea, and I won't get into the politics of it all, but you're a person and you have worth. And remember that it's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. And you're not alone. I know that was a bit of a rambling video, but I just wanted to talk about the topic of self-worth and self-image and disability, because I think it's something that's really important and most people probably don't think about, but as someone with a disability, I know I think about it all the time. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, if you guys have thought about this topic a lot, if it's something that is important to you, if it's something that you're struggling with, and let me know what you would like to see next. I will try not to go this long without making videos in the future, and I will see you guys soon. Bye. I need to get up, but my legs are asleep. Wake up. I'll just scoot over. Bye.